he's been a regular guest on the channel.
Let's see here.
And just like this video, he's voiced by Keanu Reeves. No, he was actually busy making the Sonic movie. We didn't book him. Well, without further ado, let's make Shadow the Hedgehog. Fire! Explosions! We recently got a special delivery from Japan from Smart Doll. They have a new skin tone called Coffee, and Daddy was so kind to send us one of the coffee buddies with a head that would be perfect for Shadow. So let's make her face. I can't believe we couldn't book Keanu Reeves to voice this video. Imagine listening to Keanu Reeves while somebody's painting a doll. That would be amazing. But I guess I have to do it by myself. Again. As always, I'm priming the head with Mr. Super Clear, and when it's dry, I can start working on the face. The original Shadow is an angry boy TM, so she has to have angry expression. We chose this sculpt because of the narrow eyes, round cheeks, and neutral lips shape. I remember painting it before for Sylvie and Clover, but they both had a gentle smile and relaxed eyebrows, so this is something new. And of course, I'm excited to work on this new skin tone. I may not be the biggest fan of Smart Dolls. Barb is the fun girl in our team. But this is something I really like about them, the color range. This new color looks so yummy. It reminds me of milk chocolate, and my mouth starts watering when I look at these dolls. And I even smell the chocolate when I look at this doll. You don't smell the chocolate when you look at this doll? It's very good that ours is going to be dressed and won't show so much of the body. Shadow has a very pretty red eyeliner, so of course I can't miss it. On darker dolls, it's better to make a white base first before painting a vivid color like red. For a second, I contemplated, I even did a sketch, a face tattoo saying Maria, but Barb said no. She said piercings are going to be enough for the edgy vibe, so I warmed up the head and pins and started poking. It's better to drill tiny holes, but I didn't want to risk it on a darker head because every scratch would be visible. These red eyelashes I actually added after making the wig, which you will see soon. That's why the head has some glue on it. I didn't see it, but it shows on camera. And here she is. Our Shadow Girl has a new face.
I thought I liked making girly outfits, but looking at the library of things I made, I think an edgy leather motorcycle two-piece is actually more up my alley than a princess dress, so let's make just that. One of my strengths is splitting pants patterns into multiple pieces, so I'm just gonna do that again.
I bought some new thin leather and it was stretchy, so I derived this pattern from a leggings pattern. For the cuff part, I used red and white, and to add some straps, I thought about turning the leather under, but it was way too thick, so I opted out for just flat stripes and decided to paint the edges later if needed, or tell Alex to do it actually. For the knee part, I used some black leather and stitched a grid at an angle to add some fortification.
I see this, and I don't have any doubts about this project anymore. This looks so good! I'm so glad that I ordered this fabric, because otherwise I don't think it would have looked that well. Damn. Oh, hopefully this is like still stretchy enough with the stitching. Should I have not said that I'm super excited and that I think it's gonna turn out well, because now it's not gonna turn out well? Well.
The black leather was giving me the most trouble, because it was splitting on the top stitching, but in the end it wasn't that noticeable. Or Alex painted it and didn't tell me.
They look a little skinny, not gonna lie. I'm a bit worried.
And I was right to be worried because despite the leather being stretchy, I had to open the back seam to put the pants on. Thankfully, it was an easy fix. I added a small zipper in the back.
Now we need a jacket to match the pants, and Alex requested that we make a square, pointy shoulder, so I got to learn how to make it this time. When I put that black zipper in the back of the pants, I knew it was gonna bite me in the butt, and that's exactly where I put it, in the butt. And I could have swapped them around. I mean, this wouldn't look as good, but this also is not going to look as good, and this is in the front and this is in the back, so.
Oh well! It actually ended up not being an issue at all, to be honest, but I tend to over-worry about things. To make the back more interesting, I wanted to applique Shadow's symbol, and I wasn't convinced I'd do a good job on the machine, so I hand-stitched it on. I know, the dedication, I know. I carefully traced the position of the straps in the front because they have to converge just right there in the center of the doll. So it's important that they line up because you're always gonna see it. I would say that it's pretty symmetrical at this point, so that's not too bad. I also added details to the sleeves because I'm so cool. I will admit that I was a bit apprehensive about making this type of sleeve because, well, I never made one before, and I thought it involved magic and witchcraft and some difficult techniques. I was also worried about making it the right sort of shape, so not too spiky, but also just square enough that it looked intentional. But I think I nailed it. If I do say so myself. Spiky. It's not my first time that I've made this. I had to rip it out because I did not succeed the first time. This is what it is, but it's sort of semi-pointy. Pointy with a round over. Great success so far. The sleeves are done. They have little buttons. So now the bottom band, the neck thing, collar, and the zipper. Okay. It's so cool! I think I will need some help. It's stretchy, but it doesn't want to stretch itself. Some fixing needs to be done up top, but I didn't so epic and amazing. I think I will have to stuck these down somehow. What do you think? I think it's so cool. Oh yeah.
You know, Shadow and Sonic, they both have very stylized hairstyles, but we understand one thing: spikes. There must be spikes. Before I start the wig, we have to prepare hair wefts and the spikes. I cut these horn-like shapes from some kind of packaging foam and painted black, and I want to cover them up entirely with hair. It took long hours because I had to make a few layers so the coverage is nice and even, but with glue and hairspray I managed to do these 4 spikes. They are going to be attached to the head with magnets. And now I can start the real wig making. I have to admit, I still don't know what I'm doing sometimes when it comes to wigs. So I just start and figure out while making. Sometimes I have to cut, replace or restyle a few times before I like the result, but watching cosplayers make their wigs in human scale helped me a bit to understand how to sculpt with fiber. I'm one of these people who don't see anything in their heads, so I have to see something in real life to say if I like it or not, and I often don't. So yeah, it's always a journey. I'm using a hair straightener to make nice curves around the face and also make more spikes. There's always a lot of trimming and gluing and sculpting with hair gel. I didn't know what to do with the front part, and first I split it into a few small spikes going in different directions, but it makes the whole hairstyle look a bit chaotic. So later I restyled it a bit differently. I carefully glued bangs with the nicest wefts I had, and I also made 2 little bumps with paper and glue on top of the head and covered it with more wefts. So I have a small crevice on top of her head. That is where I'm going to glue the parting wefts. I feel like the flip method never worked well on nylon, and I'm testing this method instead. But I think it will work only on short partings. I tried something similar on Beetlejuice before. I still have 2 small foam spikes to use, and why not adding them at the back? I picked a good spot, glued them on a wig cap, and added more red fiber to blend them in. I restyled these front parts of the wig so many times that I need a break. So let's make some decisions about the eyes. I tried to make the eyes by hand, but either I lost that superpower or this sculpt doesn't like this kind of eyes, but they just didn't look good. I was considering red eyes I purchased from Hana Fubuki doll, but they were a bit too small for this head, so she looked surprised and we want intimidation. So I took the same eyes design we gave Clover and Sylvie, so we knew that they would fit. Changed the color to red and yellow, added some color and details with paints, and covered them with UV resin. And this is how she looks with the final eyes and final hairstyle.
Shadow is that cool and edgy character who does cool and edgy things just because they're cool and edgy, like driving a motorcycle even though he can run very fast and teleport. So I needed to include one of those things in the video, and I really wanted to make a motorcycle. My original plan was to make one on the Lucier, but then Santa tipped off Bamboo Lab that I was shopping around for a new printer, and they so graciously sent in the Bamboo Lab X1 Carbon with the AMS unit. So what better way to test it than put 440 hours on it making a huge bike, right?
Coming off the high success, or coming off the high of success I had with Vice gauntlets, I thought I'd model my own bike, completely forgetting that it took me 8 weeks to model the gauntlets. So I started with the video game model as a reference again. I quickly realized that even though I was printing it as I modeled it, I knew nothing about motorcycles and simply don't have enough time to learn about bikes and then make my own model and print it and finish it. I know, who'd have thunk it? Thankfully, while looking for model references, I stumbled onto this model of a Honda Shadow, which looks deceivingly similar to the in-game model. I didn't research this, but the name suggests that they are somehow connected. And the model was almost in the correct scale. Coincidentally, it was made by a guy from Poland, and the model was free and came with instructions. Don't worry, I sent the guy a donation, just like he asked. The Bamboo Lab X1C really came in a clutch here. The printer was going for a week straight, and I think I was running it the day for shorter prints and overnight for full plates, or like large parts, which a bike in this scale has a lot of, okay? Even though I have to go to uni every day, I was able to send the files to the printer through the cloud service, and Alex just had to take off the prints when done, which was very convenient for the both of us. Overall, the quality and the speed of the printer is wonderful, but I had my share of failures. There is a camera and some sort of monitoring system which lets you know when you have failures, and something I learned about a bit later into the project, which is super simple to implement, but none of the printers I used before had this option, is the skip function. So when a failure happens and you're printing more stuff on one plate, you can just tell the slicer to skip that one object and save the rest instead of having to discard the whole plate, which is like mind-blowingly simple but amazing. I used filament from Bamboo as well, as it was so graciously supplied for the project, and I am in love with their matte PLA. I also finally printed with TPU, so an elastic filament. The TPU that I ordered actually didn't come in the original order. There was an error during packing, and instead of the TPU, I got an extra plate for the printer. But after letting the support know, and a bit of back and forth, and a bit of sass from their side, if I'm honest, it was sent to me as well. Overall, is this machine amazing and great for beginners? Absolutely yes. If you do not care to become a 3D printing hobbyist and specialist, and mainly print upgrades for your printer for the first 6 months, and instead need a tool that will make nice quality prints quite fast, I think Bamboo Lab has good machines to offer. Is it a magical, errorless device that never fails and does everything for you? No, but it is closer to that than another Ender 3 clone. It still is a 3D printer, and the objects made with it have layer lines, as small as they might be. So for our motorbike, we opted to differentiate the textures a bit by giving some of the pieces that enamel car paint look. Alex took that job using a lot of wood filler and other frankly smelly putties.
What mouth?
And with a random orbital sander, she was able to make the prints very smooth and hide the layer lines on the mudguards and the fuel tank pieces. She's not the best with power tools, I'll admit that, but with a few coats of primer, paint, and clear coat, the parts were looking like real bikes. I don't want to go into a lot of detail with how the bike goes together, because if you're crazy enough to build one yourself, you're gonna use the instructions provided anyway. Because I scaled the model up, the holes for the hardware were the wrong size, so some pieces broke, and I drilled out most of the holes from that point on to try and prevent that. But with any 3D printed piece, this can be the case, so this wasn't the problem with the printer or the filament, it was just mainly user error, or me being impatient. I actually streamed putting the bike together on our new Discord server for our Patreons. You can now also join the Discord for free and get access, and some special hangouts will be happening for Patreons, so we can be just like our Lost Sister tier supporters, Stephanie Deer, Adia Bear, Call Me Ash, Barb from the Future, and Redex, or our cousin tier patrons, Nailini, Jamie Davies, Reese's Cup, Tate van der Veen, Rachel Cuddle, Artboxy, Willa Vanilla, Hope Z, North Soul, Laurenth, Sofa Cushion, Angel Silver Rose, Avon Rose, Malachite, Alienite, Whimsy, Whitetails, Kit the Caroline, Jessica Shrestha, Kito Kato, Burp, BTW, Krista Halper, Dull Dragon, Cirrus Eden, Leon Drostings, GM Bakairo Anna Smith, Kalium, Melissa Novoa, Rinth, Fan of TA, Ashley, Mikey Lemon, Amelia Blackwood, Andrea Select Arcane, Brielty, The Barbie Witch, Bowen, Stephanie, Karaho, Jane Beck, Caribou, Dragonar Customs, Ninja Sardazino, DreamUp, and Catherine Nodden, who were able to see me put this bike together live. Thanks, guys! To give the seat another texture, I used the same leather I made the outfit. The same leather I made the outfit with. With a lot of uhu glue and lots of rubbing, I simply wrapped it, making as little wrinkles as I could.
It looks like shit from the bottom. But it looks very good with the cover, and Alex was right. Unfortunately, the back had to be improvised. It has this leather feel. Hopefully it's not too visible from the side. But yeah, nice.
Of course, you know, I could not resist a little bit of electronics in the projects too.
It's so stupid, it's actually smart.
Putting the bike together took me about 2 days. Printing was, I think, 8 days or something like that. So it was definitely a very large undertaking, about 6 kilograms of filament as well. And I don't think I would have attempted it on my old printer, to be honest. Between sending the files to the studio, failure prevention features, and the quality of prints, if you were thinking of upgrading your setup or getting into 3D printing, seriously consider checking out Bamboo Lab.
Special bubble wrap suspension.
They didn't pay us to say only good stuff about them, so I'll be honest, don't expect perfection. The X1C in particular is very loud compared to stuff I had before, so it was promptly moved to our studio where we don't have to listen to it too much.
Zostałam mechanikiem.
Teraz już wiesz, jak zbudować swój własny motor?
And as I said, the customer service might be not the sort of next day delivery standard Amazon got us used to. Especially with the company being based in China, there can be some delays and breakdowns in communication. But if you would like to get on the Bamboo bandwagon and support our channel, I've left some affiliate links in the description below.
The bike looks absolutely amazing, but you can't ride a bike without shoes. And if you've seen any Sonic characters before, you know that shoes are a big part of a design, so let's make them. We found this model of Shadow's sneakers, but I want to give them more details, so I remeshed them and started sculpting. Because they will open and close on the doll's feet, I had to redesign them a bit to suit my needs, but I was mainly inspired by the design from the movie. As always with 3D modeling, it takes some time because I don't know what I'm doing and I had to rework some parts a few times. It's just like with the wigs. But hopefully with each new project, I'll have a better workflow and know how to prevent mistakes from happening. I already do that, but I still feel there's this learning process. We did a test print and they were a bit too big, so with some changes, we can print the final design. And you know what this printer can do? Print in multiple colors. You don't even have to prepare the model in separate pieces. You can just tell the printer where to put each color by coloring the model. It's like a 3D coloring book. And it doesn't take that much time. The prints look amazing, but there are some downsides, of course, like with everything. Like it takes ridiculously long time to print, and there's some plastic waste when the filament is changing. So I actually have to buy more filament. And this is how the prints look after some sanding on the bottom where the supports were. Unfortunately, when I scaled them down, one of the walls became too thin and there's a tiny hole in the shoe, but it doesn't bother me that much. She has one more vent hole. These are sports shoes, okay? I'm defining the details with paint because the white part looks very flat without some artificial shadows. I just have to be careful with the thickness of the paint because it can easily sink into printing lines. In this technology of printing, there are always marks, lines, and flaws, and that's why we usually print in resin, but this printer has some amazing things to offer. I'm pretty sure a resin printer wouldn't print half of the big pieces for the bike, and every part would be so much heavier and not as sturdy and durable as filament prints. So both of these technologies are useful for different things. The shoes turned out so cool. They are huge compared to normal smart doll size, but I think they fit the style of Sonic characters. Fake leather sometimes cracks on the seams, and I know this won't show on the video, but I just have to cover these parts with paint. Same with the back design. We take photos from the back very rarely, and she has long hair so it won't be visible on pictures. But I see the raw white edges and I simply can't let it be like this, you know what I mean? We also had an attempt at making a helmet, but there was a problem with her hair. How would it get there and if it would survive? It was also too big, so we decided to leave it for a different project.
You know what's coming. It's pronounced Asir for a reason.
Even though we kind of challenged ourselves to only use the new filament printer, I could not resist using the laser to cut the license plate for the bike. And with that, the year of Shadow is coming to an end, and so is this video. Let's see those final shots. This is how Shadow turned out. I absolutely love doing this project. We knew that it was coming for a very long time, and it's finally finished, and now all we have left is to go watch the movie because it actually premiered a bit later in Poland. Edgy and cool clothing is sort of my style, I think. I think I need to accept that. And I loved learning some new techniques for the jacket in this one. Alex absolutely knocked it out of the park with a wig. I think a lot of our skills have improved this year, and I try to say it humbly, but I'm so proud that this is where we're ending this year. I would wish you a Merry Christmas, but we are a bit late releasing this video, so I will wish you a Happy New Year. I hope 2025 is very enchanted for every one of you. Thank you so much for being part of our journey. Make sure to follow us on Instagram for some sneak peeks and subscribe for future videos. Join our Discord to hang out with us, join our Patreon to hang out on Discord with us more privately, I guess. Have an enchanted 2025, and we'll see you next year. Bye!
Is actually more up my alley than a princess dress.
Princess dress? Princess dress?